Hello and welcome to VB 411. I'm your host, Ms. Information, the know-it-all in City Hall, here again to bring truth and clarity to misconceptions and rumors. In today's episode, we're talking about the 2020 census. Every 10 years, the federal government embarks on a mission to count everyone living in the United States. And as it turns out, this national undertaking can have big impacts right here in our community. How? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's get to 411. The census is a federally mandated process to collect data that's then used for a variety of important activities. For example, census data determines how seats in the U.S. House of Representatives are allocated and the boundaries of state legislative districts are drawn. Additionally, the data is used to distribute about $700 billion in federal funding. Those dollars come right back to our community in the way of funding for schools, hospitals, housing, roads, and other programs that impact the everyday lives of our citizens. For every individual not counted, it's estimated our community loses $20,000 over a 10-year period. That's why it's important to count everyone living in Virginia Beach. On the state and local level, census data helps elected leaders assess the needs of residents for things like schools, hospitals, and job training, as well as economic development planning. An accurate count can also impact jobs. Businesses frequently use the same data to decide where to expand and open new offices or retail locations. It's important to know that your responses to the census are kept confidential for 72 years. Federal law prohibits anyone from disclosing any personal information, even to other government agencies such as the FBI or ICE. Violation of this law is punishable by a $250,000 fine and up to 5 years in prison. Not even a court order can break this confidentiality. The only data made public ahead of that 72-year deadline is general demographic information such as population, age, and ethnicity, nothing personally identifiable. This is used to determine the makeup of a population in a given area. Now, how do you participate in the census? Well, beginning in mid-March, everyone across the country will receive instructions on how to complete the census in the mail. April 1st is Census Day, the reference point you should use to count those living in your residence at that time. In other words, only count the people living in your home as of that date. Completing the questionnaire takes about 10 minutes in most cases. The first census was conducted in 1790 and consisted of 6 questions. It's been repeated every 10 years since, making this the 24th census. But this year, for the first time, residents can complete the census for their household online, in addition to the previous options of over the phone or by mail. Another big change that will likely benefit our region: how armed forces members are counted. Previously, service members deployed for short stints were counted with the overseas population. With the 2020 census, they'll instead be counted as part of the community where they reside in the United States. So, if you're a member of the military who resides in Virginia Beach but are deployed to Afghanistan for 8 months, you'll be counted in the Virginia Beach population. Assigned to a ship, those individuals will be counted at the onshore residence where they live and sleep most of the time. So again, if an individual serves on a ship but resides in Virginia Beach, they'll count toward our number. If there's no onshore residence, they'll be counted as part of the vessel's home port community. Stationed at Oceana but live in Chesapeake, you'll count your Chesapeake address. Bottom line, wherever you reside as of April 1st is where you count yourself for the census. If you forget to fill out your responses or run out of time, the Census Bureau will be sending out representatives to count households that haven't responded. They'll begin canvassing neighborhoods in May and continue through July 2020. Once that's complete, the entire count is tallied and delivered to the president by the end of the calendar year. Didn't get a form in the mail? Not to worry. Census sites will be located throughout Virginia Beach at any of our public libraries. A complete list of locations can be found at vbgov.com/libraries. A sample questionnaire is available at 2020census.gov/about-questions. along with additional information about how the census data is used and, more importantly, how it's protected. One last thing to keep in mind, beware of scammers. It's unfortunate, but there are those who will pose as census workers in an attempt to glean personal information. None of the questions on the census will ask for your Social Security number, email address, bank or credit card information, money, or donations. Additionally, the Census Bureau will not send out unsolicited emails. If you've already completed your census form online by phone or mail, no one from the census will visit your home. If for some reason the Census Bureau has follow-up questions, they will contact you by phone. If someone does visit your home, check to be sure they have valid ID badge. An official badge will have the person's photograph, a U.S. Department of Commerce watermark, and an expiration date. When in doubt, you can call to speak with a Census Bureau representative at 800-923-8282. For more information about the census, including important dates and a sample questionnaire, please visit 2020census.gov. And now you're in the know. Thanks for joining me today. Is there a burning question you'd like to see covered on the air? Send an email to misinfo@vbgov.com and we'll get on it. See you next time.